Alrighty, we're going to replace some worn out broken outlets and put in some nice new light switches. We're in an upscale apartment complex. We're going to fix it up for the next tenants. Here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, the white is neutral, the bare, the green is the ground, and red and blue are also live colors. So we're going to go through this whole apartment and put all nice new matching switches and outlets in. Some of them I did earlier, but now that they got the rest of the stuff out, I'm going to do some today. So here in the country I was born in, the black wire is live, the white is neutral, the bare, the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. White may be live in a switch loop or a 220, 240 volt circuit that does not require a neutral. We use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps and 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. So I'll show you how to replace these switches and outlets. Alrighty, so here is a three-way switch. See how it's broken up around these edges here? So we're going to shut our circuit breakers off. So we'll identify the common wire here. So that black is the common. So red and white are the travelers. I hear a very low flying helicopter. There it goes. It looks like a Mercy flight. So they used a red and white as travelers in this switch loop. It's a little long. Okay, so we will put our ground wire on the green screw here. Close our loop the direction that the screw turns. Make sure it's tight. So they have a red and white as travelers, so we put our red on the traveler screw here. Doesn't matter which one goes on which one here. The two travelers go on the light colored screws. There's our red. Now we're going to fold our ground wire across the bottom so it stays away from our terminals. Okay, white is the other traveler, so I'm going to put on this other screw here. There we go. Now this is the one that makes it's important to put on the right screw because it's the common. Sometimes the white could be the common and sometimes the black could be the common. It depends on who wired it. So we will put our black wire on the common screw. Make sure it's nice and tight. We have a nice connection like this here. So now we can fold our wires into the box. Now we're going to go zigzag across the bottom with our ground wire so it stays away from everything so it doesn't touch our terminals. So that's going to stay down on the bottom. And we'll go down and up with our blacks, red, and our white. And we just push this back into our wall, keeping that ground wire down on the bottom away from everything so it doesn't touch anything we don't want it to touch. So this one, our black, is the common. So this darker colored screw is our common, and the other two are the traveler color screws. So on our new switch, that's our traveler, and that's our common. So we're just going to pull all these wires out. We're going to just look at what we have here. I'm just going to see how they did on this connection in here. Wow, they did a nice job. So this is an example of where a white wire could be live because it's being used as a traveler wire between the two three-way switches, so it's live some of the time. There's our white. Put our ground over here on the green screw. You always put your wire around the screw the direction that the screw turns. And now we'll flip it over and we'll get our other two traveler wires and the common, our other one traveler wire and our common hooked up. So the black is our common. This one was stripped a little long, so I'll just take a little off of that there. So okay, there's that. Okay, now we're going to keep this ground wire going across the bottom. And I'm going to fold the black up, down, up. I'll fold this white wire down, up, down. We'll go down, up, down. But we're going to fold this ground wire across the bottom here so it stays out of the way of everything. So it doesn't touch anything we don't want to touch. Okay, I was going to make sure our ground wire is getting down away from everything. So we're going to do 2 single pole switches here. These are all nasty and dirty and corroded. And they didn't even get the copper under the screw head all the way around. It's probably still okay, but it's not the best. Boy, we have a lot of wires in this box here. I'll look at our connection in here. Okay, they're even on the end. Okay, that looks okay in here. Okay, that's good down here for our ground wires. I have too many white wires in this yellow wire knot here. We'll look and see how they did in here. Oh, there's only 3. Okay, so it's... But see how uneven that is there? We'll see how much copper is coming up above the insulation on the other 2 there. So we're going to clip that off. Okay, we'll get our insulation even at the bottom here, like this. Get our first 2 started. Bring our 3rd one in. Get our insulation even at the top here. Clip them so that they're all even on the end. See how I got the insulation even at the top and the copper even on the end here. And I see that insulation's not going to go up under there, so I'm going to have to just take a smidgen more off. Okay, now all of our insulation is up underneath the this portion of the wire nut, so that's what we want. Now we'll take another look at these here. Oh, look at this. I looked at the other side. See how far up that copper is? And see how it's all coming down? It's all out of even. See all the way up here, here, here. They are even on the end, but see how much bare copper there'd be above that wire nut? So we're going to undo this and do this all over again. So we'll cut it right here. Get everything all straightened out here. Okay, I'm going to strip them a little longer so I have some room to play with. You always strip with the hole that matches the wire size you're using. Okay, so we'll get our insulation lined up here on the bottom, get them even. We'll get our first two started. Bring our third one in. Get the insulation even at the top there. Wrap it in there evenly. Now we'll bring our fourth one in. Get our insulation even at the top here. Get them all nice and even here. I'll clip them so they're all even. So see our copper is even on the end here. And all of our insulation is even down here on the end. All of it is even all the way around. And now we can put our wire nut on and we'll make sure our insulation is going down into the Okay, so our insulation is going down into this portion of the wire nut here. So now we can push these into the box. Now we'll replace our switches. Look at all that extra copper they left off of that one there. So I'll just cut these wires off. I'll give them all nice, clean, new strips. You can see how much copper they left behind coming off that screw there. So our two red wires is the light, and our two black ones are the fan. Okay, so we'll put our ground wire around the green screw here. Like that. You always put your wire around the screw, the direction that the screw turns. When you tighten the screw, it closes the loop rather than opens the loop. So we don't want that insulation to get under our screw head, so I'm going to back this loop up a little bit. So See how that tightening the screw closes the loop? Okay, there it is. This is our first switch done. So we'll fold our wires into the box, keeping our ground wire down on the bottom here. Now the plaster ears go up and down enough so I don't have to okay, so I can push this all back in. Our ground wire is down away from everything, so I'll do the same with this one over here, so I'll keep it down over this way. So I'll bring it over this way, and we'll zigzag across the bottom so it stays in the bottom here. Make our loop the direction that our screws turn. There we go. And there we go, that's what we want. Now we can push this one back into our box, keep our ground wire down on the bottom here. Yeah, let's push our ground wire down, make sure it's away from everything. So we are all done. See how this outlet is cracked right there? You can see a crack. And wow, look at all that broken piece under there. And there's the rest of the receptacle right there, broken in the back. You can see it's cracked up here too, and it's all broken off down here. I'm just going to look at our tails and just see how they did with this here. Yep, they did good. I'll look at this one here. That one looks good. Okay, and I'll make sure our ground stays down here on the bottom. Okay, so we can fold our wires back into our box. I'll fold them back this way, and I'll push them back in here. These outlet wires are all 14, but it's on a 15 amp circuit breaker, so it is within the codes. Alrighty, with these back out of our way here, we'll make our nice new strips. Okay, black goes on the brass screws, so we're going to close the screws we're not going to use. Okay, we'll put our ground around the green screw. Okay, we got a nice solid connection. We'll make our loop. It's going to be too long, so I'm going to clip a little off here. Bring our loop back further this way. That's the most amount of copper you want to have coming back. Okay, so I'll flip it around. We'll come this way and go this way and keep this ground wire down at the bottom. Okay, this one's a little long, so I'll just clip a little bit off. Make our loop the direction that the screw turns. Okay, there's what we want right there. That's the perfect place. You want the insulation to come up to the bottom of the screw head and the wire around the screw. So we'll push this into the box, keeping our ground wire down at the bottom here. Okay, this one one of the other maintenance guys did, so I'm going to see how good of a job he did on this one. This is a newer outlet, so I'm just going to look at it, see how they did. They backstabbed him. So I'm going to see how those wires come out of the holes there. See how easy that came out? So I'm going to put it on the screws and make a better connection here. And they had the ground wire going up and down alongside the terminals, so they could have touched and shorted. So I'm going to put the ground wire zigzag across the bottom like I do, and then they won't be in the way of anything. I'm going to strip it a little longer here. Okay, so we'll make our loop the direction that our screw turns. Make sure it's nice and tight. I'll fix our ground wire here. So a little long up here, so let's clip a little off there. Close the loop. Make sure it's nice and tight. Flip it around. Now we'll keep our ground wire down here on the bottom. Okay, we'll look at our wire nut here. The white one looks good. I'm going to see how this black one looks because I don't see much of a twist coming up here. It's a little uneven on the end here, so I'll just take my clippers, make it even, and we'll put it back on. Get our insulation, it's going up into the bottom here. So it's nice and tight. The white looks twisted good, and that's the original wiring, so They did a good job on those, so I'll just push this back into the wall here. I'll just make sure our ground wire is down away from everything here. This outlet is kind of worn out. Let's see. Look how dirty that is. People smoked up here, and this outlet's kind of worn out. When you plug in something, it doesn't stay plugged in very well, so I'll reuse our ends that we have here. There's some paint that got on the wires there, so I'll clip this off and just restrip it. I'm going to fold these ground wires so that they stay down in the bottom. So I'm going to pull all this out. Okay, this is the original wire nutting, so I'm just going to make sure they're tight. Okay, so I'll push this ground wire down in the back. Go down the bottom here. This way it's down the bottom and in the back, out of the way. Okay, that's what we want. If you look closely at an outlet, the neutral silver colored screw, wide slot, brass colored screw, narrow slot. Let's make sure our ground wire is down away from everything. Oh, there's a crack right there. See how that one's starting to break right there? And I'll clip these wires off because hey, I got this one in here. I got the belts for the wind. I'll close the screws we're not going to use so that they're out of the way. Make sure it's tight. There's our white wire. Keep this round wire down the bottom here. Make sure it's tight. That ground wire is kind of short, so I can see it's going straight back to the crimp sleeve, and that's folded in the back, so it's out of the way of everything there. This one doesn't look bad. But we'll put a new, but they did leave quite a bit of copper there, but it's not behind the plastic, so we'll put a new outlet on here anyway, because these outlets are very brittle and they break. And this loop isn't bad, so I'll just take it off here. So I'll close the screws we're not going to be using. Pigtails look like they are good from here, so, and it's the original work that the contractor did. I'll stick it on just for kicks. Well, that one is up a little bit, but it's not too terribly bad, but I don't like that there. I can see the white from here. All three white wires are down in the top of the wire nut, but that was sticking up above the top of the wire nut, so we're gonna redo this one. I wonder which wire that was. Not the one that goes to the outlet. You always strip with the, put that off. The hole that matches the wire size so you don't make a weak spot in the wire. So we will get our insulation even at the top here, like that. Twist them together. We get the insulation even at the top here, bring it in. See how they're all twisting together nice and even here? And then I'll clip them so that they're even on the end. Then I'll put my wire nut on and see how the insulation goes up into the bottom portion of this wire nut. Now I can see inside the white, they're all even, and they're under the bottom, or that portion of the wire nut, but the white's so good. But I'll still pull it out and look anyway, just for kicks. Yep, it's good. Now I'll just look down in the wire nut, make sure the insulation is going down into the this portion here. I'll just back it off here and just see if anything moved when I tightened it. Nope, nothing moved, so we are all good to go. Make sure it's nice and tight. We can fold our wires back into our box. Now we can put our white on the silver colored screw. Make sure the copper is under the screw head all the way around. And make sure the insulation doesn't get pinched under the screw head. So it goes zigzag across the bottom here. Make it shape them like an accordion to go in. Make sure it's nice and tight like that, then we can push it back into our box. We gotta go down, up, and we gotta go back down like that. Keep our ground wire down in the bottom here so it stays away from everything. Nice and tight. Now let's push this ground wire down, make sure it's away from everything.